bear with me.
Does the stream gone down, or is it still there?
No, it's gone down. Well, it's back up now. We're back in. Just need to rejoin.
Oh, car 80, Panfill, stop go, 30-second penalty.
Yeah, I just had a momentary land disconnection for some reason. And we are back. We are back in. Panfill, stop go penalty. Drama there. We do very much apologise. Retro, if you won't mind just checking that has gone back up.
Just waiting for it to load. Yep, it's all good.
So we just need to... There we go. There we go. Proper view, proper stream. There we go. We are back. I do apologise for that, guys. And a momentary LAN connection disconnect, but we are back immediately. Don't believe we've missed too much. Mutabatsi has been through the pits and has come back out. He has marginally edged his advantage over Amaya. Saunders is chasing down Herpel from Germany. Has been driver swaps in this? I don't recall that name being there before.
Which name was that, buddy?
Herpel in Germany is P4 at the moment.
Yep, he's been here the whole time. You should know that, Lamborghini driver.
Number one has been very fast. We did have Moller before who was matching him, but yeah, just one of the things which I'm sure we'll find out afterwards. Will explain to us exactly why. Obviously, it's a race in a very competitive nature, but ultimately for fun. There's no championship involved. This is just the race of champions, a one-off invitee event. Yes, we keep up with Saunders chasing down Herpel. Now, I'm trying to do a bit of quick maths. So we've got the top 10 drivers all having not done their second pit stop yet. Ebhart is essentially in a net P1 before we do calculations as to if he will in fact undercut Mutabatsi. But this could become very close towards the end, as these drivers will have driven through any graining phase, and Mutabatsi is once again going to have to warm up more cold tyres very late on in this race. And thank you everybody for joining back with us. I do apologise. That was my LAN disconnected. It'll be looked into after the events of this evening. Further down the grid, Candarella, who was originally in a net P1, is lost out to Ebhart, so maybe he's been undercut. They were battling before. Ebhart was basically pushing them along, but they're still very close on track. There's quite far. Martinez, a little bit further back from this, in his BMW. You can see him in the background there. The closest battle on track at the moment is Saunders, who's within half a second of Herpel. In that stealth black McLaren, trying to get after the Lamborghini, the Lamborghini which I use for my racing, I find most attractive because it is very, very easy on the nose. Gets you into the corners regardless of what your back end wants to do, which I quite like, with the slightly more balanced McLaren, which is just a lot more wheel spin. I find a bit more aggressive on the power. But Herpel does seem to just be edging Saunders out now. He's building this gap up to a second. Lots of gaps currently being dragged out, but not with Friedman. Friedman has gone for a move out of Malmedy and has just had to edge back behind Williams there. He was momentarily ahead, but I think Williams just got one hell of a drive out. Friedman really pressing the issue on the back of Williams. And thank you once again, everybody, for rejoining back with us. I do apologise again. It was an error in my hardware that caused the disconnection. So one connection that isn't weak and feeble is the one between Friedman and Williams' back end. He is stuck to that like glue. Like Sean Paul sang all those years ago. Are you still with us, Retro?
Yeah, I was just making sure it all works, buddy. Just making sure all the links and all that good stuff are working, which they are. Because I know what you're like with technical issues. So I am still here, but I did have a bit of a drink there, just to stay hydrated. Because it was a fizzy drink, rather than drinking the liquid, I ended up inhaling most of the fizzy gas. So unfortunately I was a bit burpy. So I had to mute myself for a couple of minutes to release the gas, because obviously no one wants to hear someone burping down a headset.
Very informative, Retro, as always.
Oh yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have no filter, you know this.
Absolutely not. I tell you what, thank goodness that Friedman's car is very dark colour. If you look close enough, you can see all the little splatter marks from the back of Williams. But I tell you, this battle has allowed Campic to come up the rear. As we look further down this grid, we have lost 7 drivers in the name of hard racing this time round. It happens in endurance racing. It's either go hard or go home, and just sometimes they do just go home. But Campic is right on the back of this, and they all know they've got an extra few couple of positions with those ahead not having pitted. As Friedman goes the inside out of the exit of Rivage, do no name corner, and down towards Pouon. Friedman in a bit of a sandwich. He checks out to the inside just to give himself a bit of breathing room so we can sight the corner. Through Pouon he goes. Very planted around here. Williams doing a fantastic job to lead this battle, but then Campic is going to go down the inside of Friedman. Oh, just about gets on his brakes, just about avoids Friedman as they go through Fang's chicane. But it looks like Campic is up the inside again. And as they go on to Blanchimont, he is ahead of Friedman, and now we can go hunting on Williams. What I can't help but notice, Earnhardt has just taken the fastest lap. This is game on.
So I was going to mention as well, so the fastest lap.
Just moved to Earnhardt.
There. 2:16.710.
Wow. Really getting closer and closer to qualifying times. The fuel burns down as the tyres warm up. Like Becker and Earnhardt in formation. Didn't realise those yin and yang liveries that are going on there. Just caught that on the stream if they want to clip that for later. Lap 24 for the boys from Germany if you want to get your formation shot. As Becker has just been overtaken by Candarella. Like a relatively easy move by him there. Just from the exit of Malmedy, which you don't usually see. You usually go flat out through there. Now he goes chasing down the other German driver of Earnhardt. It's going to be a hard task as he's currently flying purple. And I can't but notice that Motubatzi's time to Amaya is not really increasing anymore. He seems to have found a bit of a plateau in his times.
I mean, he is still 13 seconds ahead nearly.
He is, but like we said, there's pit stops to come. I know the gap's not increasing. And Earnhardt is
the gap wasn't increasing, yeah, but so there was a driver last lap in the top 10. I didn't quite see who it was that made a break for the pit to finish their final stop. And so just coming up to 30 minutes left of this session. 2/3 of the race have been done. The final third, where it counts, is now going to see strategy come into play. A lot of drivers in the top 10, sorry, the top 8. There's a guy in P11 and a guy all the way down in P14 with one stop left to carry out.
Yeah, just sorry for Team Germany. We did just miss Kampic also taking over Williams. With now Friedman chasing on Williams as he was before, but with the position down. But now that's invited Holtzapfel into the mix as well. So the battle for P15 is absolutely raging. And this is the closest battle on track. So we're going to stay on board with it. And Friedman trying to get his absolutely best drive before he starts to tackle Eau Rouge. But it does look like the Mercedes grunt from Williams is paying true. He starts to build the gap. Oh no, but Friedman off the top of Radeon, maybe just a bit more settled, starting to close in. I don't think it's going to be quite enough for the Kemmel Straight this time around. As he follows diligently through Malmedy and down into Rivage. I think he's getting right on his bumper, Retro. I think he's getting maybe a little bit impatient. Williams has been the cork in the bottle for this particular out for P16 or P15 as it was.
Yeah, so Friedman just trying to just stick his nose in, not quite where it's wanted, just to try force a mistake, just to try get any move done. Because I don't think that Porsche, as much as battered, it's bruised, maybe struggling due to the damage that it's got.
Friedman super keen this lap. All the while though, still very conscious of
Becker diving into the pits now to finish his final stop for the race.
I must think this would bring him out quite close to the back of the grid, probably somewhere around Brunebarb from Belgium and Panfili. Panfili's had an absolutely torrid time in this race. Oh, but Friedman, this is about as close as he's been. If there's not a dive, I'll be surprised. Oh, as he goes to the outside. It does look like Williams has got him covered there, but on the exit, throws his nose in again, but the outside line pays dividends to Williams.
Yeah, so it's not ideal being on the outside. It's alright for the first part of the bus stop, but unfortunately the second
Oh, Williams
part,
throws one, not the source. Takes the tight line. And
Big
Williams
on the source, through the source. Friedman gets the drive out.
Williams is still there though. No, he's dropped back. He's slotted in. He did not fancy Eau Rouge side by side.
But is he gonna pick this move back off down the Kemmel Straight just to infuriate Friedman more?
Here he goes to the outside. You can't tell from this angle if he's ahead.
He's not.
He's
quite
definitely side by side.
Great drive from Williams there.
Oh, Friedman fancies his nose back in through Malmedy. They're still side by side. Friedman could still take a dive here. No, he's going to have to slot in just ahead of Happers. Holtzapfel. That's a mouthful with a dry mouth.
Oh dear.
There's a lot of pronunciation in that name. Friedman at it again. Taking a slightly wider entry into P1, hoping for the switchback. But anybody who's driven P1 over the years will know that it takes a while for that corner to come round.
I think they're just flicking through the pack there. The gap from Mutabatsi and Amaya has jumped up to 14 seconds now.
Oof. So Mutabatsi's starting to put the hammer down. Ebert, though, is closing on Grace. So I'd love to see a delta between Mutabatsi and Ebert.
Oh, you're interrupted there, mate. Friedman looked for a sneaky little slip on the Fisherman's Hut corner, but he's kind of keeping his car just in tuck of Williams there for Blanchimont. Neither driver giving up.
Now Friedman might try the inside this time round. He's eyeing it up already. Does he dare? No. It looks like Williams has got that one well covered.
Is this going to be a repeat of last lap? Is it going to be Saucy on the sauce? Ken Friedman in the Porsche.
No, he decides to set himself up again. But I don't think he took the sauce that great, you know. Holtzapfel may have a bit of a drive here. Well, no. I'll eat my words. It looks like Friedman's got one hell of a drive out of the sauce. He'll just be hoping that he doesn't have to lift to avoid Williams.
Lift for Limits or Williams. It's either one of the two, but he's going to be right on the back bumper for LeCombs.
As Undead jumps into the stream to show his support for Saunders. Friedman on the inside, which will then become the outside. I'm not sure he's going to get this one done. This corner has preferred the outside driver, but fortune does always favour the Bravers. A little tap to the outside. Oh, and then Friedman onto the grass, which then allows Holtzapfel through in the Sky Ferrari. And then I believe Williams has been allowed back past Friedman, but I don't think that Williams will be too happy after that. He has lost out. Flashing away, showing his displeasure. Now I'm just going to move a bit further forward because Candarella, I think this is outdated at the moment, but he has got past Grace. He's been hunting him down for quite a while, moves himself into P8 ahead of Grace, who's still yet to pit for the second time this race.
So, but I think your original prediction for Candarella could be right, buddy. So the gap from P1 to P2 is 14.5 seconds. 3.5 seconds to P3, so that's what? Another couple of seconds. 7 seconds to P4. 31 seconds from Saunders to P6. There's definitely, what, a minute and a half to 2 minutes for a pit stop?
I'd probably edge more towards a minute and a half. But, yeah, it's
tight.
I mean, it's Erbhardt who's leading the charge, really. He's the lead driver, having done both his pit stops. He's been separated from his countryman further down the grid in Capek in the other black and grey Ferrari. 92 seconds, Molnix is correcting us. I think I was closer, Retro. There you have it, from Molnix, 92 seconds.
If there's a man that's going to know it, it's always Molnix. And so not to mention Germany doing very well at the minute, so car in P3 and P4.
Now does Mutabatsi think, is he just driving to pit on the... I mean, pitting with 21 minutes left to go, I mean, part of me thinks might he just pit on the last lap?
I don't think the game will count it though, because the pit window.
Well, the pit window is set for after the race, as it currently stands.
Ah, that's interesting. I don't think that was the plan.
So they can pit all the way to the final lap. So I'm sorry if I've just accidentally dug out an admin there. There's, I think, Bonham has been a bit of a torrid time. Did show him very close to Campit before, but now he's sort of running around by himself. Back with Friedman though. He's still going. But now they've also, once again, it seems to be the curse of this battle. He's invited somebody else along with it. So as he continues to fight Williams for this P16 position, potentially a few more positions once people pit ahead of him. 2 tenths is the gap, and Friedman's pushing him along. Blanchimont is on its way. Here comes the kink. Which side will Williams give him? There's always a preference. And it comes the bus stop in Spa.
Just lifted off there, which did cost him a bit of time into the bus stop chicane. But he's right back on him once again. Bit of a snap from Williams there. Here's Friedman going to be saucy on the sauce once again.
And he's showing his nose at every corner. I'm not sure how much that's playing into his advantage. But it's been an absolutely sublime drive from Friedman just to stay engaged in this battle for this length of time. Up Rouge they go again. How does Subliminal Radion? It looks like Friedman had a bit of a shake at the top of Radion. But he's kept his foot in clearly. Pulls out the slipstream. Gets side by side. I think he's going to have this one done this time, you know, Retro, if he stays committed. But, oh, do you know what? What a commitment. Oh, no. It looks like Williams had to bow out of that one. He got too heavy over the curb. And now...
from the car behind the BMW. Well, Zukovic slips through there from, I think, a little bit of a mistake there from Williams, which did cost him the position as he was going to run wide and had to lift off there.
Yeah,
just to keep the car on the tarmac.
I think Williams overplayed it on the brakes, and just caught himself a bit heavy over the curb. As Williams is flashing again, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think Zukovic gave him space.
So there was a little bit of a door tap, but it wasn't necessarily a massive.
He wasn't running
incident.
off the track, I'm sure.
But maybe he might see something different. We don't feel it, obviously, through the steering, but obviously we see it through the cameras, which might be a bit different.
You know what's going to start to play into this battle towards the end? I'm not sure you can see the track map, but Mutubasi is only a corner or two away from this battle. Maybe he'll pit as he approaches it, but I think at the time being, I think he's just appreciating the clean air.
Yeah, clean air does wonders around a track like Spa.
And
as our good friend Undead would tell you, there's always a wall on a formation lap, and he always finds it.
But I've just picked up M. Grace in P11, chasing down Martinez. Another close battle on track. Martinez dips a wheel in the dirt as he goes through Lecum. It looks like Grace, in anticipation of maybe a larger mistake, does back off. It does look like Friedman has finally escaped this battle that he's been in for so long. Finally a mistake from Williams has allowed Friedman through. So well done for the persistence for Friedman there. And Mutubasi is building this gap, but I can't help but notice that Ebert is closing on every car he's been behind. I've got to wonder what the ultimate strategy is from these drivers that are leaving the final pit stop this late.
It's definitely going to get painful towards the end. 17-minute mark just gone, remaining left of this session.
I mean, surely you want at least 4 or 5 fast laps under your belt on your new tyres.
Oh, I don't know, buddy.
But just trying to do the quick maths in my head. An extra 30 minute. I mean, by my calculation, Ebhart's got this. Under pit stops, Ebhart has got this.
Well, time will tell, buddy.
Question is, will Mutubasi do a Schumacher?
I don't think you could do that on ACC. I don't think it'll let you, because you have to cross the line before your pit box.
Now, we've just been informed in the comments that they're not having to put on new tyres. So, crucially, that does reduce the pit stop time that has been put to us by Mornix of 92 seconds, brings it down to 77 seconds. But that makes it less clear. Ooh. Ignoring the pit stop is a 90-second penalty, but it's a 92-second pit stop. So they aiming for the penalty over the line? Interesting.
I mean, the gap from P1 to P2 is increasing. I think I did just see it as up as 16 to 17 seconds now.
I've been updated by morning. It's a 130-second penalty. So that is not 90 seconds. That's not a minute and a half. That is 2 minutes 10. So not worth getting the penalty. But looking at your net lead at the moment, by my calculations that I've done on the fly in my head.
Because you love a bit of quick maths, apparently.
1, 2, 3, quick maths. That's great, as we got a lot of discussion in the comments about how it's playing out here, which is fantastic. As Earhart just drifts wide, Duffy calling it absolute madness. It is going to get tight towards the end, guys. Do not go anywhere. Thank you for all those that have stuck with us through the down phase of this race, through the pit stops and carnage in places, through the sparsity of this race. It is going to come down to a final lap or two shootout, I believe. I believe Earhart is your net leader. There's not too many close battles on track at the moment, but it will be close once these pit stops from these top 7 drivers starts getting served. Let's see if we can find any battles towards the back. No, everybody's pretty spaced at the moment. Ooh. So looking at, see, is slowing down. He's 40 seconds off the pace off the next car of Saunders. Saunders has truly left him for dead out there.
17.7 seconds to P1 from P2, so it's definitely increasing that lead to get that hammer down.
I must say, Sween, with his current tyres, is keeping pace with Earhart. He's not really pulled a gap to Sween, but looks like Sween has to pit or take the penalty. When are these drivers going to pit? Mutabatsi just casually come around, but Mutabatsi is finally captured in this lapping traffic. He does have to pass Williams, the next car up.
So he needs to make quick work of this lapping traffic if he wants to get that hammer down just that little bit more, just to gain, if he does pit, 12.5 minutes to go with 1 pit stop left for the top 7 drivers. M Grace included in P11 there, but so the top 7 drivers still need to do that final pit stop towards this session, or they will receive a big old penalty.
So Earhart, I've been corrected by him. He is close, taking a second out of Sween in that last lap. So we know that we've been informed that Saunders is doing a stop and drop straight back out as late as he can. So Saunders, with that gap over Lacanici, isn't going to lose out to that position, I presume. Blue flags are being thrown at Williams. That's it. How fast he passes Williams will very much determine, I think, if Matabatsi will choose to come into the pit this lap. As he flicks to the outside, Williams does lift out of that, so it doesn't look like Matabatsi has lost out anything there really, maybe only a second or so.
I wouldn't even say it was a second, but it was nearly the exact same time what it was even navigating lapping traffic. So he didn't lose out any time really from that.
Absolutely. Even if it was a second's not much over the course of a race if it means you're safely overtaking lapping traffic. He dips a tyre in the grass on entry into La Source. And I'm going to throw back to a battle that is ongoing. We finally found one that is under a second. We've got 3 drivers in contention for P18, Gernheimer, Urza. And I think the car behind Bruno Barbie is actually down, so I think that is a lapped car that's just stuck behind them there. So Urza, the man from Turkey, is just trying to close in on Gernheimer. We're going to see if anything fruitful comes from his chase. But with that beastly Beamer down the straight, nothing of it just yet. Yeah, I've got to love a good strat win. We don't know if that's what's coming for Earnhardt just yet, but I've noticed that Earnhardt's got it down to Sween to under a second, so we're going to go aboard with him. He's flashing away at Sween, and Sween has given it. I mean, he had no obligation to move over. I know he's a lap up on him, but
I think Sween might have had a moment there, to be fair, because he went all the way from one side of the track, all the way to the other side of the track. I'm not quite sure what happened down in Team USA, but Sween just let him past.
Yeah, I mean, Sween, is he rooting for an Earnhardt win? That would be something. I mean, international relations, absolute point. They get these guys down to the United Nations. Let's resolve some conflicts. But no, off Earnhardt goes. He's 4 seconds down to Lacanici, who's been bleeding time to Saunders. I mean, surely this is the battle for the lead here. My maths isn't that far out, I don't think. This has got to be it. We got 8.5 minutes until the end, and Earnhardt is just pumping in the laps. If you could give us a rundown of the laps, Earnhardt in comparison to Mutabatsi Retro, I'm sure the following community will be much happy to hear it.
So on average, he is doing 217, low 217s. He did a 16.9 that was invalid, a 16.8 that was invalid, quite low 17s for the race leader. And say our current fastest lap holder that is currently in P7 is doing about the same times. Low 217, say his fastest lap of 216.7, which was nearly a whole tenth faster than the previous lap, which was set by our race leader Mutabatsi. So it's all to play for there.
Yeah, and he's just absolutely cutting time out Lacanici. He's already within 2 seconds of him. This is one hell of a charge. Even if he can have all these drivers try and catch him out with a stop and drop, which I'm going to coin from Molnix.
Lacanici might be struggling somewhere because his times are roughly at the 219, 220 mark. So the fact he's doing laps 2-3 seconds faster than him, I'm not surprised he is catching him ever so quickly. But say he's not going to throw him out of the contest just yet. He's still got to catch him and pass him, don't forget.
Absolutely. We'll see how international relations are between Germany and Italy, I suspect, as we come towards Pouhon at the rate that he's catching. We're just going to go back down to Bruno Barbie, who I believe has just overtaken Becker. Nope, not Becker.
It's Panfili.
Panfili. So I think Panfili has been overtaken by Bruno Barbie. But Panfili looking like he might take another dive back at him.
Oh, Sween is in the pits doing his final stop.
Oh, as we just got Panfili re-overtaking Bruno Barbie, who's then right back on his rear. Hard racing, even right at the back of the grid. Having great fun back here. As long as you can find a battle, you can have a battle, right?
Exactly.
As he closes in around Blanchimont. We have not forgotten about the battle for the lead. I'm keeping close tabs on the timing. But looking at seemingly letting very closely, letting Ebhart through. I do remind everybody there is no obligation for these drivers to let those passing them under, regardless of the amount of pits taken. They can defend if they wish. But through Ebhart goes. He's now P6 on the road, no matter what happens. Ahead of him with pit stops. We're going to see his gap to Saunders very shortly.
Well, Saunders is currently round No Name Corner, and he's just at the bottom of Arouge, so quite a bit of a gap there.
And it was a 40-second gap between Lacanici and Saunders. And Saunders will cross the timing line just before Lecombe. Yeah, just away and away he goes. There's a time with the overtake is 45 seconds.
No, not quite. So just looking at the times of Saunders there, they say 2:18s, not quite the 2:17 pace that Ebert is doing, but say just he's not going to catch him with 4 minutes left. Maybe on over a longer stint he might, but not quite with that time left.
But crucially, Saunders, Herpel, Osterich, Amaya and Mutabatsi ahead of him all still need to pit or serve a penalty for not doing so.
Oh, Amaya's dived into the pits now.
So with
Osterich has dived in the pits now.
So I'm
Is
going to
Herpel now going to do the same? Is it all going to be a domino effect? No, Herpel stays out. Saunders in the pits.
And Mutabatsi still staying out. So he's going to have to beat the very last lap. Mutabatsi, I mean, he ultimately decides the last lap being the lead car. But, crucially, with the mayor, I'm going on board with Erbhart because we're going to see how quickly he passes this. So, about 18 seconds was the gap with the mayor to Mutabatsi. So this will give us a good indication of where Erbhart is in relation to Mutabatsi. This is the key bit of information that we need to know for the race lead. Mutabatsi, if he's listening, will be listening hard out for it as well. But if he wanted to make an impact, he needs to do it a long, long time ago. Who is Mulnix? Who's pushing up penalty limits? Can't just say he. We're assuming they're all he's.
Oh no, not that card.
Is that assuming? So, as the leader. So, he's playing it tight on track limits as well. So, as Erbhart comes round, we're not going to know until...
But as he does come round, Amaya was just coming out the pits.
So, we're waiting for the timing line. First for Erbhart.
Oof. Very close there to Candarella, who nearly got taken out atop of Radion as Amaya was rejoining from the pit lane. So Amaya does pit in P2 and rejoins back in P5.
Behind Candarella.
Does jump to P4.
So... Oh, okay, so... The gap, Erbhart to Amaya, is only actually about 7 seconds.
Leader on final lap as Mutabatsi is in the pits.
He's in the pits. So, he may have started the final lap, but Erbhart's got every chance to chase him down. Do you know what? I'm not sure this is going to be enough. This is going to be very, very...
to pit now. This is going to hurt him. Yes, he does. He dives in the pits as this is his last chance to pit.
So, Erbhart is going to have to turn on the afterburners here. Hepful also in the pits. So crucial now, this is for the lead of the race.
Pete Earhart pushing absolute every limit he can to try and close that gap. I don't think it's going to be enough, buddy.
I think is that
Mutabatsi
Mutabatsi already
going
moving.
down the pit lane. He's still going to the pit box. Oh, he missed the pit box, I believe. Oh, he's back out. He's driving again. Literally just like the comment said, a stop and drop. As Mutabatsi is coming out the pits.
Earhart is approaching the source.
Just coming across the timing line. He might take P2 here, but he won't take the lead.
I think that crucial bit of my calculations of deducting the fuel. Oh, not deducting the tyres. Sorry. I think he is going to get P2 on the road. Yes, he does.
Yeah, he's definitely got it.
And whilst
Andrella is also going to move up to P2, I believe, as well.
So Mutabatsi with the cheekiest of strategies. We're going to see how close, in fact, it was as the timing line comes.
Osterich is also going to move as well. This is definitely hurting Herpel's time here. Where's he going to rejoin? Behind car 690.
So, yeah, there you have it.
7.
13.5 seconds is the gap that Mutabatsi has managed to make. So as he starts his final lap from the pit lane, this is very much a victory when I can't see him losing 13.5 seconds now down through Pouon. We've not really covered him. We've mostly just looked at his times. Earhart gave it absolutely everything in this race, this Champions of Champions race. This invite only. We only invited the best, but it looks like the best of the best is going to be Mutabatsi. He only has to avoid track limits, so we've been told the leader is very, very close on track limits. We might see this gap get even closer with Earhart, but as long as he keeps it within within the tight lines of Spa, he's going to have this race win. As he goes a little bit deep off Blanchimont, I don't believe he's been penalised for that. He's coming around Blanchimont now. He only has a few more corners to navigate. This is basically not a corner. So the man who played everybody else in the top 7 with like an absolute fiddle is the only one to make this strategy work. Mutabatsi from South Africa in the race of champions only has the powers to line, and he wins. He wins the race of champions. As we catch Earhart. Oh, he put in such a great effort, and he's going to come back very, very with the fastest lap in P2. What a great effort. Brought it down by a second in the end. Candarella as well. He was right with him for so long. Amaya played the same game but lost out to those two cars, but I think he'd be quite happy with that. Osterich in P5. Martins in P6. Herpel, all these guys in the end so close together. And Saunders with the car following him to the line, but I think it's a lap down. That was the other German driver of Becker. And Kampik, who was involved seemingly quite a lot in P9. Oh. As my mouth goes dry, I'm going to try and round this out.
Goes dry for the final time of what a race that was.
So, you don't often get that. It requires the best drivers to create a finale like that. Not just to be pushing each other every lap, but to see it out. And then our race organiser, Friedman, who finally escaped the clutches of P14, comes across the line to take P12. Zukovic, who was chasing down all the way to the end. Lukanatsi, who ended up giving himself quite a gap back from Saunders after the late pit, finishes in P14. Followed by Williams, who was well involved with that fight, succumbed to that battle in the end. Followed by Gernheimer and Sween, who was affected earlier on. And Uza from Turkey puts himself in P18. And there you have it. And then we've got lap cars further down who just didn't quite finish the race, finished the race in the pits. Burnham, Orlik, Muller, Likra, and Virulainen and Hujurans. And there we have it. Those are your final standings. And looks like Eberhard did hold on to the fastest lap as well, so he can hold his head high for that. But 13 laps, that's what crammed into 90 minutes of high octane racing. There's a bit of a lull as strategists trying to work themselves out around the second round of pit stops. Oh, but they kept us really guessing right to the end there, Retro.
Yeah, so interesting strategy there. Was all sweating thinking about it. So it's just whether it was going to be a stop and drop or a tyre change. Obviously, we didn't quite see what the requirements were. Obviously, being in the commentator box, but obviously the drive was fantastic to them. Fantastic strategy. Big shout out to obviously the guy that commanded this race from the start. Obviously, Moller. Not quite sure what happened to him, but obviously we're not sure whether we will find out whether this has a stewarding or not. Who knows, but obviously it's been an absolute sensational pleasure of commentating over the Race of Champions tonight. Obviously it's a one-off, invite-only event, so maybe if we ask Friedman nicely, we could do another one soon. If that's what you want to see, do let us know in the comments.
We'll just see if Friedman wants to come and pop his head in. See if we can get a... if he wants to come and give a review of his event. But what a roundup. I mean, we still held on to so many of the guys there. Out of the 30-ish runners, we finished over the line at least with about 22 of them on the lead couple of laps. So we're just gonna so we're just waiting to see if we can get our organizer in. But obviously a shout out to the organisers, even if you can't reach him. It's been a fantastic event. Not only has it been streamed here in the UK, but it's been streamed in Italy and France and in Germany among different accounts to make sure we have the broadest coverage of this event. We hope everybody enjoyed it. It certainly kept us on the edge of our seats. And obviously, even if stewarding does change a few positions at the end, it was a well run drive. Well, hold on just for a minute or so. But yeah, a few people. I'm just going up and down the grid. Obviously, Mutabatsi gets definitely a nod for drive of the day, as does Eberhard. Great strategy, almost paying off. Saunders, I think, had to come from quite far back. Real big gains in the race there. Friedman obviously had one of the hardest, toughest battles throughout. Don't think we have. Well, Vincent wants to drop in, but I don't believe we have him added. And then obviously further down, it was a shame to see Moller, who was the main real challenger, on track without strategy to Mutabatsi. And as we're not getting much in the way of a response, thank you all of us for those who've hung on for that response. But thank you so much for joining us. It was great attendance in the comments and watches. Make sure, if you're still here, like, subscribe, maybe even consider joining FRL. It's a great community. And if you're here already, consider joining the Patreon for all those extra perks that you get for committing, obviously, a few pennies a month to the good guys at FRL. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. There might be a next one. We hope there is a next one. Have a good night. Enjoy. Right.